Welcome to today's St. Anthony's classes. Today our topic is engineering mechanics. For the first year engineering students, engineering mechanics is there. Of course, this subject is very tough subject for them. And it is something like that of Himalaya in front of more than 95% of the students. And only very few students are studying this subject happily. And mainly because of the lack of knowledge in trigonometry as well as algebra, this subject is feel to be very difficult subject. Once if you are clear the fundamentals, other basics of algebra as well as trigonometry and the basics of mechanics, then this subject will be like that hearing a music, and even you may forget to take your dinner also. It is that much of good subject, and the scoring in subject is also very easy. And most of the time there are students, they are scoring 100 out of 100 in this subject. And here I am making an attempt to make this subject of mechanics is easy for all of you. So those who are interested may attend the lecture without any part missing of this section. See, first of all, we will define what is mechanics. Mechanics is a branch of physics which deals with the study of effect of force system acting on a particular particle or a rigid body which may be at rest or in motion. So mechanics means study of the forces acting on a particle or a rigid body. Now we will see what is meant by a particle and what it is meant by a rigid body also. First of all, let us see the classification of mechanics. The mechanics is classified widely into three. The first is mechanics of deformable bodies, and that is again classified as strength of material, theory of plasticity, and theory of elasticity. And second classification is mechanics of rigid bodies, and that is again classified as statics and dynamics. And statics and dynamics is then classified as kinematics and kinetics. And third classification is mechanics of fluid, that is classified again as ideal fluid, viscous fluid, and compressible fluid. See, I have crossed this first as well as the third major classification. Because of that, in first year, these two classification we need not to go through. In first year, the engineering mechanics, irrespective of branch, all the students have to study. And in first year, we have to concentrate only mechanics of rigid bodies only. And that is again classified as statics and dynamics. What does means by statics? Suppose a body is here. A body is here. If a force is acting here as well as a force is acting here also, this is 5 Newton and this is also 5 Newton. Then there will be no change in the body because that forces acting from both the side is equal. So this body will be in equilibrium. And if a study is there regarding this type of bodies and the forces acting on these type of forces are acting on body, and the body is in rest even after the application of the force, then that we can say is statics. And if suppose instead of that it is of 5 Newton, then if we are giving us 10 Newton, then the body will start to move here. So if the study is regarding this type of forces, then we can say that this is of dynamics. The word dictionary meaning itself is revealing the meaning of statics and dynamics. And what does means by kinematics? And kinematics means is a branch of science of mechanics, and that will study the effect of force. And kinematics is going to study the effect of force. And in kinematics, there it is not going to search or analysis the source of cause of motion. The source of cause of motion is not important as far as regarding kinetics, like that from how much force it is there and how much mass is that body, and like that all is ignoring here. Like that in football match, whether it is Cristiano Ronaldo is striking, otherwise Colonel Messi is striking, it doesn't have any importance like that. And in cricket also, in Virat Kohli and how much force he bat, and those things are not important here. And here importance is that how much was the initial velocity, how much was the final velocity, how much momentum it occurred, and what is the acceleration, what is the deceleration, and all these things only will be studying. It doesn't have any importance to the source of force as well as the mass. But for the kinetics, the force, this here it doesn't have any importance. Here source is having importance. Here source is also taking into consideration while studying or analyzing the force system. And what does means by a particle? A particle is a matter having considerable mass but negligible dimension. A body whose shape and size is not considered in analysis of problem. Okay, and all the forces acting on a given body is assumed to act in a single point is considered to be a particle. Here, suppose that a train is moving from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, and the distance between the Mumbai to Ahmedabad, while calculating or while saying, it is not considering the length or size or shape of that train. And the train in this case is considered as a particle. Particle means that a matter concentrated in a single point. Particle means a matter concentrated in a single point, and it doesn't have any dimension. But a rigid body means a matter having considerable mass as well as dimension. And the assumption of the rigid body is like that under any quantity or any kind of force acting on that rigid body, it is not going to be deformed. It is not going to be deformed or destroyed. And that kind of body is the rigid body. But this is an assumption only in engineering mechanics. When we in engineering mechanics as well as in physics, when we will be saying regarding the rigid body, the concept is that under any big load, it is not going to be destruct. But actually, that type of body is not there actually, because in modern world, it is not at all there. So you got the concept of rigid body as well as the particle. Now let us come to some knowledge regarding the trigonometry. And these are the things that we studied in our school. Suppose this is, I am writing it as A, this I am writing it as B, and this I am writing it as C. Then the sign rule is that A upon sin A is equal to B upon sin B is equal to C upon sine C, provided that A, B, C are opposite side of A, B, C. Okay, this means the small a is opposite to the angle A, and the small b is opposite to angle B, and the small c is opposite to angle C. In this condition, also that it should be a right-angled triangle. In this condition, we can apply the sine rule, and in most of the time in engineering mechanics, this application of this rule is there. And what does means by a scalar quantity as well as a vector quantity does it means? A scalar means that it is having magnitude, but there is no direction. Scalar means there is magnitude. Magnitude is there, but no direction. What is the example of scalar quantity? Mass is a scalar quantity, and the distance is a scalar quantity. Then we can say time is a scalar quantity, volume is a scalar quantity, and then density is a scalar quantity. Like that we can say. And what does means by vector quantity? Vector means that it is having both magnitude as well as direction. And velocity is a vector quantity, and acceleration is a vector quantity. And vector quantity means that it will be having magnitude. Velocity, how much meter per second it will be there. Acceleration, how much meter per second square will be there, and in which direction. If acceleration, due to acceleration, when it is giving the vehicle is coming backward, then we will say the acceleration is in negative direction, and that we are also calling it as a retardation. And velocity is also can be there. It can be negative as well as the positive. It means that these vector quantities are having magnitude as well as direction. Now let us see how to add the vectors. How to adding of two vectors. Suppose this is a vector I am drawing here. This is a, you can consider it as a force or whatever be, and another vector is moving like this way. And this vector is Q. We have to add vector P and Q. How to make or how to add these two vectors? If this is a force of 5 Newton, say, and if this is a force of, say, 10 Newton, then some considerable scale, convenient scale you have to consider, some considerable scale or convenient scale, and draw a line such that you can take 1 Newton is equal to 1 centimeter like that. Then this will be 5 centimeter. And you can name the starting as A and the end as B. The force is always having a arrow mark like this. And draw this AB parallel to this P, the force P. Draw this AB parallel to this force P. And now draw the force Q as BC parallel to this force Q. We are drawing it parallel to the force Q. See, force Q is 10 Newton, so we are drawing it 10 centimeter. Otherwise, you draw it for 10 meter. Otherwise, you draw it for 10 millimeter, 10 inch, whatever be. that you feel that way, you can draw it. Okay. Now, when you joining here, it like this way, then this is C. So this is P plus Q. AC is P plus Q. This is the way of addition of two vectors you can do. And if we have to go for the subtraction of the same forces, in order to subtract vectors, how to go for the subtraction of these two vectors. Now draw another, this force P I am drawing here like this way. It is horizontal, so we are making it parallel to the force P. We are making it parallel to the force P. Tail is A and head we are giving the name as B. Now Q is the force, it is going upward, and instead of making it upward, make this force in opposite direction downward, and it is parallel to Q only, and make it in opposite direction. It was going up and making it downward. And when you joining this C, A and C, this we will get as P minus Q. P minus Q, otherwise Q minus P. So this is regarding the addition as well as the subtraction of vectors. And the addition of the vector is also known as triangle law of addition of vectors. If more forces are there, then we will call it as polygon law of forces. Now let us come to the Newton's law of forces. Newton's law of motion you are knowing. The first law, what does the first law says? When a body is in rest, it continues to be in rest, and when a body is in motion, it continues to be in motion. When a body is in rest, it continues to be in rest, and when a body is in uniform motion, it continues to be in uniform motion until and till it is disturbed or it is acted upon by an external force. If no external force is acting on a body, then it will keep on running, otherwise it will be keep on rest. And this property we are also known as inertia. And we can say the first law of Newton is stating inertia, and in second law says that the rate of change of momentum is equal to force. The rate of change of momentum is equal to force. Moment is mass into velocity. So first, this we can say it as m into v minus u by t. That is m into change of velocity. Rate of change of velocity is acceleration. So this is mass into acceleration. The unit of force is kilogram is the unit of mass, and acceleration we can write it as meter per second square. For 1 kilogram meter per second square is also known as 1 Newton. Otherwise, it represents as 1 Newton. So force is defined by Newton's second law of motion. And Newton's second law of motion, we are getting force. And in third law of motion, it says regarding the action and the reaction. Action and reaction. So whenever a force is there, there will be another force also. It means that the force is always represented as a pair, not as a single one. Force is there, then there will be reaction also. Then we are having Newton's law of gravitation. What does means by Newton's law of gravitation? Newton's law of gravitation says that it is proportional to the product of mass m1, m2. Suppose here one mass is there, another mass is also here, and it is separated by a distance of, say, d, and this mass is m1 and this mass is m2. The force of attraction, otherwise force of repulsion in between these two mass is proportional to, directly proportional to product of mass and inversely proportional to square of the distance between these two mass. And when we will add a constant, then it will be capital G m1 m2 divided by d square, and capital G is the gravitational constant, Newton's gravitational force. Force is an agent that produces or tends to produce or destroy or tends to destroy a motion. That we have already seen in first law as well as in second law. First law, we are mentioning regarding an external agent. See, the force is an external agent that will cause for the stop of a moving body. Otherwise, it will cause for the movement of a rest body at rest. And this is a coordinate system. In this coordinate system, in first quadrant, fx is positive and fy is negative. And in second quadrant, fx is negative as well as fy is positive. And in third quadrant, fx is negative as well as fy is negative. In fourth quadrant, fx is positive and fy is negative. And see, this is the 0 as well as 360. It is representing. This is 90 degree and this is 180 degree, and this here it is 270 degree. So in between 0 degree and 90 degree, the horizontal forces is positive and negative. This vertical force is also positive. And in between 90 and 180, horizontal force is negative, vertical force is positive. This y is positive and this x is negative. And in between 180 and 270 degree, fx is negative and fy is negative. In between 270 and 360, fx is positive and fy is negative. And force is represented by a line of action. And when the force is moving like this way, force is given, then force is moving like this way, then this is known as the line of action of force. Line of action of force. This is the line of action of force. So here, if a force P is here, this is the line of action of the force. And the force is having direction as well as magnitude. if I say this force P is equal to 5 kilonewton, then the magnitude is 5 kilonewton. 5 kilonewton is the magnitude. And the direction here, see, it is 45° with the horizontal, and this is east, this is north, and this is west, and this is south. So since it is going through the middle way of north and east, then we can say the force P is north east. The direction of force P is northeast. Principle of physical independence of forces. The principle of physical independence of force is saying that if a number of forces are simultaneously acting on a particle, then each one of them will produce the same effect which it would have done while acting alone. Each force will produce the same effect that it would have acted alone. Suppose that a force is acting over here. I am giving name as P, and another force is acting here, giving the name as Q. One more force is acting here, giving the name as R, and another force is acting here, giving the name as S. And if in absence of Q, R, and S, how the force P is acting, and in presence of all these three forces also, the action of, or otherwise the effect of force of P will be same also. And whether it is acting alone, whether it is a part of a system, in both the way, the effect of force will be same. It is not going to change. The effect of force of P will be same. And the next is principle of transmissibility of force. And this principle is very much important, and the application of this principle is very much important for solving the numericals in mechanics. See, I am showing here a force P, and this force P is having a nature of push here. And this force P, it is supposed to be acting through this line. This is the line of action of the force. And it is supposed to be that this force is coming through this body outside by this way. And this force, which is shown here by dotted line, this force will be having same magnitude as well as P, and will having the same direction. So the force, push force of P, we can consider it as same as a pull force P. And this is the principle of transmissibility of force. If a force acts at any point on a rigid body, it may also be considered to act any other point on its line of action, provided this point is rigidly connected with the body. So here the assumption is that of the body is rigid body. Rigid body is in the concept that it is not destroyable body. And now let us come to the force system. Force system is majorly divided into coplanar forces and non-coplanar forces. And coplanar forces is again divided into concurrent forces, parallel forces, and non-concurrent forces. And parallel forces is divided into like parallel forces and unlike parallel forces. And non-concurrent force is also divided same as concurrent force. coplanar force is divided as concurrent force, parallel force, and non-concurrent force. And parallel force is divided again as like and unlike parallel forces. And we are having more importance in coplanar forces in our syllabus. Let us see what is coplanar forces and what is non-coplanar forces. If I am drawing a plane like this, plane or laminar like this, if a force is here, like this, all these forces are laying in this plane only. So this is a coplanar forces. Having two planes like this, vertical plane as well as horizontal plane. Suppose force is acting here and here also like this, many forces are here. So these forces, this system of forces is laying on different plane. So this is non-coplanar forces. This is non-coplanar forces. That is concurrent force. See, here a particle is there. In this particle, if a force is acting like this, another force is acting like this, another force is acting like this, and all these four forces are acting towards otherwise away from a point, otherwise a particle. So this we can say it is a concurrent force. And if forces are like this, one force is here acting on this point, and another force is here, and another force is here, and another force is here. These are the non-concurrent forces because these forces are not going to meet a point. So the forces which will meet a point, that we can say as a concurrent force. And the concurrent force as well as non-concurrent force is there both in coplanar as well as our non-coplanar forces also. If this is a force and this is a force and this is a force, these are the case for a non-coplanar force system concurrent force. And if forces are parallel, here the forces are parallel, then it is like parallel forces. And if it is another force is like that here, then it is unlike parallel forces. And force are coming here like this and like this also, then we can say parallel forces in non-coplanar planes. And if it comes in opposite direction somewhere, then we can say it is non-parallel forces in non-coplanar system. Come to the composition of forces, or it is also known as compounding of forces. And the composition of forces or compounding of forces is a process of finding out the resultant of a system of forces. So the method is for finding out the resultant. And the resultant we can find in two ways. One is analytical method and other is the graphical method. In analytical method, we can use parallelogram method as well as method of resolution. And in graphical method, triangle law of forces, polygon law of forces, and vector method we are using. And let us see what is meant by the parallelogram method. And in parallelogram method, if two forces is there, suppose a force is here, say this is force Q, and the angle made between these two forces is, say, it is theta. And if these two forces, we can show it as a side of a parallelogram, then the resultant will be the diagonal that will be joining the corner of the parallelogram. So this will be the resultant of this force. Diagonal will be the resultant R, and the angle made between this resultant and this force P, say it is alpha, then the resultant R will be square root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta will be the resultant. And tan alpha for direction, tan alpha will be Q sin theta divided by P plus Q cos theta. And this is the law says. A example on parallelogram law of forces. Find the magnitude of two forces such that if they act at right angles, the resultant is root 10 kilogram. But if they act at 60 degree, the resultant is root 13 kilogram. So here we can apply the law of parallelogram, and the resultant according to this is R is equal to square root of P square plus here we can say R is equal to square root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta according to the law of parallelogram we are knowing. Let the first force is P and the second force is Q. In first case, when it is 90 degree at the right angle, means in first case, case 1, the angle is 90 degree. So, and the resultant R is given as root 10. So here root 10 will be is equal to square root of P square and Q square plus 2PQ cos 90. So cos 90 we know that it is 0. So here it will come P square. This will be coming as root 10 is equal to square root of P square plus Q square. Let us remove the square. When we will remove the square, then this will be equal to 10 will be is equal to P square plus Q square. Let us say this is equation number 1. And in case 2, it is given as angle is 60 degree and resultant is square root of 13 kg. Now here it will come as 13 R square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta is our equation. R square will be root 13 square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 60. And this will be 13 will be is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ, and the cos 60 is 1 by 2. So it will get cancelled. So this will be is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ. So 13 will be is equal to, from the equation number 1, P square plus Q square is 10. So P square plus Q square, we can write here it as 10 2PQ. So this will become 3 is equal to 2PQ, and PQ so here 13 will be is equal to P square plus Q square is 10 that we got from the first equation. Then it will come as PQ. Then PQ will be is equal to 13 minus 10, that is 3. Now we know P plus Q whole square is P square plus Q square plus 2PQ. That is P square plus Q square is 10. 10 plus 2 into 3. So we will get here as 16. It means that P plus Q is equal to 16 root. So this is 4. Now let us find P minus Q also. P minus Q whole square is P square plus Q square minus 2PQ minus 2PQ. So this will be equal to 10 minus 2 into 3. So we will get here as 4. So P minus Q is 2. From this, we can find out P as well as Q. So here we will get, when we will add both, P will get P is equal to 3 kilogram, and we will get Q is equal to 1 kilogram. Force. The process of splitting up the given force into a number of components without changing its effect on the body is known as the resolution of forces. Here see one force F is given, and if I am making its vertical as well as this horizontal component, if I am considering, then this will be the Fx and this is Fy. If it is theta, then Fx will be is equal to F cos theta, as well as Fy will be is equal to F sin theta. This way of splitting up of the forces into horizontal as well as vertical component is known as the resolution of forces. This is the vertical component, and which is denoted as V, and this is the horizontal component, and which will be denoted as H. And when more forces are there, then vertical component as well as horizontal component will find, and then the sigma of vertical component and sigma of horizontal component also will find out, and then the resultant will be equal to square root of sigma V square plus sigma H square, and tan theta will be is equal to sigma V upon sigma H. This is the way of application of resolution of force systems. And we will do one question. The following forces are given and it is acting at a point 20 kilogram inclined at 30 degree towards north of east and 25 kg towards north and 30 kg towards northwest and 35 kg inclined at 40 degree towards south of west, and find the magnitude and direction of the resultant force. In this case, first of all, we have to draw the coordinate system. And this is the north, and this is the east, and this is the west, and this is the south. And the first force is 20 kg inclined at 30 degree towards north. Towards north, but of east. It means that it is making an angle of 30 degree, making an angle of 30 degree with the x-axis, with the horizontal, as well as it is going towards north. That is the meaning of this. It is making an angle of 30 degree with the east and it is moving towards north. And other force is 25 kg towards north. So it means that this force is towards north. So we can draw this north line itself. And another is 30 kg towards north of west, means it is equally inclined. So this will make an angle of 45 degree with the north as well as with the west. And this force is 20 kg and this force is 25 kg and this force is 30 kg, and one more force is given, that is 35 kg inclined at 40 degree towards south of west. So inclination is with west and it is moving towards south. So this angle is 40 degree. And this is 35 kg. And first of all, you have to draw this way of a diagram, and this is known as FBD, free body diagram. First of all, by showing the direction and magnitude, we have to draw a diagram like this, and this is the free body diagram. Thereafter, we will start to find out the sigma H as well as sigma Y we have to calculate. What will be sigma H? This is 20 kilogram and sigma H means that horizontal component, and this component we have to take the horizontal component. Otherwise, we can draw it as like this also, and this will be H and this will be V. And sigma H, this is making an angle of 30 degree, so it will be 20 cos 30. So this is 20 cos 30 and this will be 20 sin 30. And here also we can draw it as a horizontal as well as horizontal component as well as vertical component. And this will be 30 is already there, and 30, then here it is come as in a second quadrant. In second quadrant, when it will come, so you can consider whether it is positive, negative, and all. Otherwise, the next so let us see how to take the force. Here we can take a horizontal component as well as a vertical component like this. This will be the horizontal component, this is the vertical component, and this will be 20 cos, this is 30, so this will be 30, and here it will be 20 sine 30. And the next force is 25, so here will be angle is 90 degrees, so cos 90 is 0, so there is no horizontal component, and sine 90 is 1, so this will be sine 90 will be 25 only, and here in this case it will be having horizontal component as well as the vertical component is there. Horizontal component will be 30 cos, and this angle is 45, so either you can take it as a 45 degree, otherwise add this 45 with the 90, so 90 plus 45 will be very easy, so we can take it as 135, and here it will be 30 sine 135, and here also we can find the horizontal as well as the vertical component of forces. The horizontal component of the force, here it is 180 is there, 180 plus 40 is 220. So this will be 35 cos 220, and this will be 35 sine 220. Now we can go for the calculation of the force. So this sigma h is equal to sum of all the horizontal component of forces. So first is 20 cos 30 plus 30 cos 135, and this 25 doesn't have any now the horizontal component of forces is 20 cos 30, even though this 25 doesn't have any component, then we can say it as cos 25 cos 90, 90 will cos 90 is 0, so it will become 0, plus we are having 30 cos 135 plus 35 cos 220. So this will come as minus 30.7 kilogram you will get when you calculate. And now let us find sigma v. Sigma v is equal to 20 sine 30 plus 25 sine 90 plus 30 sine 135 plus 35 sine 220. So this is coming as 33.7 kilogram. Now resultant R is equal to square root of sigma h square plus sigma v square. That is square root of 30.7 square. This is minus plus 33.7 square. So we will get here as 45.59 kg we are getting. And for direction, tan theta is equal to sigma v by sigma h. That is 33.7 divided by minus 30.7. So we are getting here as minus 1.098. When you will find the theta, then you will get it as 47 degree and 42 minute. Is minus and sigma v is positive, so it means that the theta lies between 90 degree and 180 degree, equal to 180 minus 47 degree 42 minute. That is 132 degree 18 minutes with the horizontal. Graphical method, first one is triangular law of method, triangle law of forces. And suppose we are having two forces, say this force is P and another force is, this one is Q. And if this type of two forces are there, and if these forces, first force let us draw for with some convenient scale like this. So convenient scale we have to take, and we can draw a vector. And earlier I have drawn here in this session itself. And another force, this force, if I am drawing it as OA, then from A, if you are drawing this OA parallel to P, and another force from the head of A, we are drawing parallel to Q. So this is force P and this is force Q. And if we can join these forces like this, then this is the resultant. This is the resultant. And if I am giving this as B, then OB is the resultant. And this is what is the triangular law says. Drawing this point as the small load A, I am writing with a small letter A. I am drawing this parallel to A, and another force is there, that is B. So I am drawing that force here, B. I am drawing, this is the force B here, and another force is that of C, and it is acting like this way. So I am drawing this force C here. Then drawing the force D, then drawing the force E here, then the force joining this A 2E. This is the resultant R. And this is the Polygon law of forces. So says that if a number of forces acting simultaneously on a particle be represented in magnitude and direction by the sides of a polygon taken in order, then the resultant of all these forces may be represented in magnitude and direction by the closing side of the polygon taken in opposite order. So this is the way of drawing the polygon diagram. See the vector method with the help of an example. A particle is acted upon by 3 forces equal to 5 Newton, 10 Newton, and 13 Newton along the 3 sides of an equilateral triangle taken in order. Find graphically the magnitude and direction of resultant force. So in vector method, first of all, we have to draw a space diagram. Here an equilateral triangle is given. So first of all, draw an equilateral triangle. And a force is given here. Take this as 5 Newton. And another force is given here. Take it as 10 Newton. And another force is given here. It is acting along the side. So we are drawing it like that way. This is 13 Newton. So equilateral triangle means all angles are 60 degrees. And all sides are of equal. Then how to solve this question with the help of a vector method. For vector method, first of all, we have to draw this is the space diagram. So space diagram we have already drawn. Now we have to draw the vector diagram. How to draw the vector diagram? How? Give a magnitude for 5 Newton. You can say 1 Newton is equal to 1 centimeter, 1 Newton is 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter. Like that, you can take any proper dimension and then draw a line parallel to this 5 Newton. And then thereafter draw the line parallel to this 10 Newton. 10 Newton will be double of this 5 Newton. And exactly parallel to that force, we are drawing this 10 Newton also. We are drawing 10 Newton here. And thereafter, you have to draw the other force, that is 13 kilonewton is, 13 Newton is given here. So we are drawing that 13 Newton also here parallel to that 30. So this direction also you have to show. This is the direction here. This is the direction here. And this is the direction here. And just to give some name as we are starting from O, and this is A, and this is B, and this is C. So in this O and C, and in opposite direction, this OC is the resultant. And this will be the angle that make the direction. See what is moment of a force. A force P is pulling this pulley from point O, and the perpendicular distance between this is L. Then this pulling will have a turning effect on this wheel, and this turning effect produced by this force P is known as the moment of the force. And moment of the force is force P into the perpendicular distance between the point of application of the force and the reference point. First case, when force is applied in this direction, this will be counterclockwise, otherwise anti-clockwise. And here in second case, it will be clockwise. So a moment can be clockwise as well as counterclockwise. This couple means two non-collinear parallel forces of equal magnitude and in opposite direction form a couple. It is a special case of parallel forces which produces rotary effect on a rigid body. Then this is the F is the force, and this B, that is the distance between two forces, is known as the arm of couple, and the moment of the couple is equal to moment of couple is equal to F into D. Thank you. Hope you could understand this. If you could understand, then you can subscribe my channel and like and share the video with your friends. Thank you.